Dear Toxic, you are broken beyond repair. Even God can't help you because you won't even seek his help. And I don't feel sorry for you. I feel no sympathy. In fact, I feel completely indifferent. You chose what you chose and you deal with the consequences. Here's the things, targeted individuals. If you've been targeted by a toxic, you know what I'm talking about. These toxics would have you believe that you are the problem all of the time, that everything is defective about you. If they could have their way, they will steal your life and render you non-existent. You know why? Because they know that their life is worthless. They know that what they've made of themselves is worthless. And they hate their life so much that they were willing to covet and steal another person's life in order to feel better about themselves. And they'll try to do this in the weird way of copying and mirroring other people that they admire but are also envious and jealous of. They'll do these things. And then when they realize that they cannot be the very person that they are jealous and envious of, then they seek to destroy that very person or persons that they're envious of and jealous of. So they have this void in them, and this void is bottomless. Like, if you think the pits of hell doesn't have a bottom, their void is their hell. It's bottomless. Nothing can fill it. They are eternally bored. They have nothing going on in their life. They can't even enjoy breathing without being jealous of someone else breathing. Like, that's how sad these individuals are. And sure, we can go with the stories that, many people who are of that ilk of toxicity have gone through some traumatic things. But there's many targeted individuals that have gone through traumatic things and continue to go through traumatic things because of these types of people, and had the awareness to know that it is not right to do this onto other people. So we need to give some accountability where accountability is due. At the end of the day, we all have a choice on how to treat people, on how we view ourselves. We have that choice. We may not have a choice of how people treat us, but we have a choice of how we treat others and our treatment to ourselves. And their failure to take accountability for that is not your problem. They'd like to think that you're the problem. They would like you to internalize their problems as your problem so that they can just shift the accountability and blame onto you, but it's not your problem. And here's the thing. Here's how you know that it's not your problem. Because soon as you leave, another person's going to go through the same cycle. And when they leave, another person's going to go through the same cycle. You know who the only common denominator will be? Is that toxic. That toxic individual is going to be the only common denominator. If you notice with toxic individuals, they cycle through their so-called friends and love interests. They cycle through them. So in maybe a month, 6 months, a year, when you see them again, they're going to have like a different set of friends, a different set of love interest. Or they may have added a love interest to their harem, or they've added a friend to their, I don't know, their cult. And this is what happens. They're constantly looking for validation. They're constantly looking for supply. They're constantly addicted. And that addiction is what runs them to the ground. They can't be alone. They can't self-reflect, because to do so would mean to take accountability and acknowledge the shame of their behavior, of what they've done to others unjustly. So they need to put that onto you. So they will distract themselves and say that it's you that's the problem. And if it's not you, it's going to be always somebody else. So try not to take it personally. I know the attacks feel very personal. I know. And the reason to try and not take it personally is because if it wasn't you, you got to get into that mindset. If it wasn't you, it would have been someone else. And before you got there, it was someone else who was the problem. And before them, it was someone else who was the problem. So they will always have a litany of villains. They've had them before you, they will have them after you. They are eternally the victim. They created their own demise and demise for others, but they're the victim. That's what they like to have you believe. And because they have not convinced you, and because you've chosen to use your discernment and protect yourself by distancing yourself, by protecting yourself, setting up strong boundaries, because you've chosen to do that, they've decided that they're going to punish you. You see, all of these things that they're doing are distractions to keep them away from looking at themselves. Because they know that if they looked at themselves, they are the nastiest, worthless, trifling weirdos that they are. They can sit with themselves with that information. They don't want to process that, because they want to see themselves as good. So they want to put their false mask on to pretend that they're good, when they know deep down that they're not. Really think about it. How sad must it be for an individual to lie to people to get people to like them? How sad and pathetic must it be for an individual to set one particular love interest up and another love interest up with lies, pit them against each other through triangulation, to then turn around and say they both desire that person. They both desire the toxic. I mean, that's some bad... I can't really curse on this. That is some... fill in the expletive. That is some craziness. I mean... And it's hard to wrap your mind around it because it's so irrational. Lying to people to get them to like you? If that's not pathetic, So I know that you're going through hurt as a targeted individual. You're going through hurt. These attacks are unfounded. There is no reason for any of this to happen. But rest assured, when you look back and you see for what it really is, you'll recognize how pathetic that toxic person is and how broken and beyond repair they truly are.